Greetings, readers and friends. Harvey Michaels here. I'm thrilled to welcome you to our adventure into Danshui, President Plunge, Book 1, Evacuate or Pay. It was an electrifying story to write, and I can't wait to share some with you today. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Your support means the world to me. Thank you kindly. Okay, here we go. Chapter 7, Part 2, Pearl Wang. Pearl Wang runs, weeping, to the front door. Police are outside, pounding, shouting, "Mrs. Wang, police, open the door." What's happened? Her eyes bulge and leak pain to the officers quickly walking through her house. 3 golden retrievers worriedly circle each other behind and around Pearl. The police already checked with the Wang's independent security company that monitors multiple cameras on the property and sends private patrol cars to cruise past the Wangs and other elite clientele. No visitors have been to the house. Only blown branches have triggered motion detectors around their cameras. Very few people, all residents, have been through the front security of the gated community since the typhoon began blowing that morning. The police called ahead. "Police emergency, listen, we are on our way to Minister Wang Sanbao's residence and we need to show..." "We saw the news, so we knew you would be calling." They told the police what they knew since Wang Sanbao left that morning with his security team. "Bottom line, we believe Mrs. Wang is there alone now, and she has been alone all morning until now." The police knew there were many unanswered phone calls to the Wang residence since 1 o'clock. They could not rule out a hostage situation. Pearl Wang had been pacing the floor. She was told to not touch the phone and did not dare answer any calls. She tells the story how a mystery line call got through to her from her husband's bodyguard's phone. A strange voice spoke over a video that they showed her of her 4-year-old grandson on vacation in San Diego, California. The female officer interviewing Pearl Wang asks, "Was it a direct called video of your grandson? Was it real time? Live?" Another woman officer looking at Mrs. Wang's smartphone line account answers for her. "No, it wasn't live. I have it here." She holds up the smartphone, playing the video recording. It's a pre-recorded short video looped multiple times, actually only a few seconds long originally. Maybe someone shoved a smartphone in his face and made a threatening sound. Then they recorded and edited your grandson's reaction. She shows Pearl Wang and the interviewing officer. "It's easy to see how you thought he appeared to be abducted, but I doubt it." That officer's face ticks at the malevolence such minds could scheme. They dubbed the whispered voice over the video. "You should call your daughter right away to make sure, ma'am," the interviewing officer suggests, and knows Pearl will need family support. "We will wait here with you." He does not say until when, and he waits to tell her about her husband's situation until she has some family support or until she asks them. The pieces are falling into place. Police understand much more now. Unfortunately, they only understand how the heinous kidnap and murder crimes were pulled off. They don't know who did it or where Wang Sanbao is now. One long, extra loud howl of tree-stripping wind shakes the windows and accentuates these disturbing thoughts. It sounds eerily in harmony with the slightly quieter wail coming from Pearl Wang. Her daughter just told her about the news summaries the police kept from her. Kingfish. Pipi Lai sits near the front doorway behind her designated desk in the BLPD headquarters. As was her habit when nervous, She keeps fingering the Cheerio-sized hoop ring pierced in her lower lip. She is also cracking gum, a rare skill in Taiwan she learned in high school. She keeps up the gum popping to divert her attention from the super typhoon winds. For the last hour, she has been petrified of the howling and shrieking. She thinks she might be losing her mind. After all, she's sat through maybe 15 typhoons in her lifetime so far. This time is different. This typhoon is from hell. For the first time in the precinct's history, they cram towels under their heavy front door to keep out water and steady the door's loose deadbolt. The screaming winds she hears, as close as ghosts in her head, are shaking the door so violently it's making a booming sound like pounding drums from down the hall. Pee-pee also copes with the insane gale sounds and concussive storm fury by reading subtitles on a Korean soap with the volume down low. She downloaded the soap on the tablet device her cell phone provider, Sergeant Bao's friend, gave her for free when she re-upped her contract. When she half watches the soap opera, she absent-mindedly scrolls down her long list of unread line messages. She is not interested in the many shared first-hand filmed typhoon videos. Other than that, it's mostly stickers and goofy memes. To complete her multitasking trifecta, she also has turned the speaker on the police radio louder than the Korean soap, almost as loud as her popping gum. Oh no, now what? She picks up the telephone on the second ring. Pee-pee Lai, the BLPD dispatcher, also served double duty as precinct operator and receptionist. Yet another BLPD irregularity. Sergeant Bao hired Pee-pee Lai, his long-ago girlfriend, to serve at the front desk with loyalty he could trust. Most other Taiwan police precincts gave officers rotating 2-hour shifts at the front desk, responsible for any cases that walked in or phoned in. What? She makes meaningless responses several times as she listens. She is rolling her eyes, expressing mocking gasps of surprise and groaning rebuff. Who? My supervisor? You got it, mister. Sarge! She bellows out to Sergeant Bao in the next room behind her, the conference room, with his laptop, tablet, smartphone, and a dozen printed things spread out over a large table there, away from Pee-pee. I'm transferring a call. He's a grouch. And get this, he says he saw a submarine. She resumes cracking gum, fingering her lip ring, and intently watching her soap opera. She does not care that it is against regulation. Everyone she knows is off work. All normal places of work and schools are closed for the typhoon. But she has to work a double shift. So if watching the show is frowned on, that is just too bad. She thinks to herself, if she had to stay quiet and listen to the storming cacophony just outside that banging door down the hall, she would no doubt go crazy. I already said everything to that rude, lazy woman. The voice speaks loudly into the phone, which Sergeant Bao has on speaker as he continues perusing internet notifications he was scrolling through. I'm not saying my name. This story is too big. I don't want any attention, but I know what I saw. The sergeant's eyebrows go up in skepticism. What did you see, sir? I already told the other police officer. Come on, I'm getting soaked here. Please tell me, I'm the officer in charge. Well, why are you out in the rain? Why are you out in the typhoon? I won't use my cell phone to ID myself. This is too big. I saw the center turret of a submarine come up at the Danshui River mouth, closer to the Bali side, not the Danshui Fisherman's Wharf side. The sergeant notes his place on the laptop computer to come back to in a minute and pushes it away, bumping it next to his pushed-away tablet. He pulls his smartphone closer and shakes his head at the craziness he was hearing from the precinct phone pressed to his ear. How could you see anything? What were you doing? We live close to the convenience store, and I went there for milk and eggs. I can't smoke in the house, so I was smoking in my car when I saw it. It must have been cardboard blowing over the water or a piece of something flying around. The visibility in a blowing typhoon is muddy poor. The sergeant is ready to hang up. The visibility isn't good, but I could see it for a few seconds, as clear as anything. I know what I saw, a submarine turret on the bally side. The man is angry and insistent. He finishes boldly, and Bao could picture him pointing with a finger at the sergeant. You were told. I did my duty to tell. Maybe I'll call back. You better tell the right people about this. And he hangs up. Sergeant Bao sits alone with his thoughts, staring at nothing on the wall for a few seconds. Nah, he guffaws. Pee-pee, did you hear that? He roars with over-caffeinated laughter, walking toward the dispatcher, who hears him coming and pushes her devices into a corner of her desk thick with paper reports. I gotta share this with the poor guys out on patrol. Sergeant Bao ignores protocol again and ignores the possibility that others might listen to the police scanner. He cues up the first conversation with Pippi Lai and listens to that. He decides his own phone exchange with the man calling in is the most amusing. Guys, check what someone just called in here. A submarine. Then he presses play and chuckles into the mic. Give a listen. This is the bomb. TV number 1 news, a weary receptionist answers. Listen carefully. I saw a submarine near Bali across from the Danshui port. I don't want to give my name. What? When? How? The Bali police already know about this. I was in the Navy. I know what I saw. You should push them to find the submarine right away. The news editors argue over the unverified sensational report and decide to place it one time only on the bottom scrolling news reports as an isolated call-in report. Congratulations, you did it. Bernard was sorry he answered the ID-blocked call from the same mysterious baritone voice who called him before and promised Bernard would ascend the ranks of his company and become the sole face of the corporation if he didn't cancel their scheduled hotel conference. The caller was a simpleton. He was also obnoxious and paranoid. Nevertheless, he left Bernard feeling slimed, guilty, after each of 3 calls. Bernard considered contacting the police or his attorney after each call, but saw there was no substance to the threat, and he badly wanted the company meeting to transpire. Now guilt and shame hurt like a knife wound in his guts. I did nothing. You bring my father back now. The only answer Bernard got was a deep-toned 5-sound laugh, each ha lower and more evil. Then there was a window whirring and typhoon sounds until a brief clattering and the line went dead. He waited 10 minutes after calling the Bali Police Department to telephone the first news station on the short phone number list Newsy Susie gave him for best news channels to call in reports. Now he calls Newsy Susie's burner phone. He remembers it was very near where he now is, in Bali, near the river. He saw Susie for the first time. She had ridiculous long dyed hair, but she was focused and relentless, firing question after question at the man she interviewed. Her good impression got her followed and investigated by the voice. He skips niceties. You called no one else with this phone, right? We've been over this again and again. No, never once. Susie can't remember ever feeling so conflicted. She wants to rant at him for pretending to be normal, not a diabolical monster, for being a psychopathic murderer, a scheming maniac kidnapper. But she thought again, further, and saw she was trapped. He could easily tell lies and hurt her badly with the police, and he was sick enough to come up with ideas Susie could not foresee. So she acted as normal as she could while her skin crawled and her stomach turned. You must throw it far away after we talk this time. Okay, I understand. I already agreed. I will trash it right away, Susie deadpans. She tells herself to act nonchalant, not cold. But why did you really call? What happened? The voice never gave away anything about the big event in their earlier conversations, but now he tells her she might hear a story about a submarine and not to make it a big story. Why didn't you tell me and let me do it? Susie asks, trying to sound hurt. She already heard the story. The BLPD graciously provided once again. The Navy will eventually investigate this. You don't want to get involved at all with them. His voice drips with hate. Then his tone lightens. Your reports must be more professional and hard news than this one. That's why I didn't tell you. He chuckles and then sighs. The way you are going today, you may pick up on the report anyway, faster and better than the competition. Susie wants to lash out, knows she will regret not speaking up, but she also knows her own paranoid obsession, fearing fraternal abuse in her core more than anything, even more than cop trouble, and will not risk the confrontation this monster deserves. She feels a goodbye is in the air. I already picked it up. Bali Police Department is super generous with news scoops today, but I think I will let it die there. Good, Suzanne. The voice is serious again. Keep your systems ready to record and edit as fast as lightning. You are Newsy Susie, the new star reporter. Be ready for the next 2 stories coming your way through unofficial channels. She says nothing, feels dirty and ashamed into silence. He stumbles for words, repeats himself. Keep your systems ready to record and edit as fast as lightning, Suzanne. He clears his throat and finishes. It's time for us to say goodbye. Throw this phone away, now. For the second time in 10 minutes, he opens the window and pitches another burner phone out the window. And just like that, the voice was gone for good. Willie and Dee. What a difference a day makes, Willie. Tell me about it. Yesterday I went to look for purple sweet potatoes at the vegetable market near the place I give blood. Give blood? Yeah, every 3 months. I look at him, skeptical that my blood donation is news to him. People in hospitals need other people to donate blood. But you should donate just because of the health benefits. What? It's super healthy when you have to make fresh blood to replace the blood you donated. Women after menopause need to too. It's always something with you, Dee. I want to, but don't sigh. Do you like to know about your blood tests, Willie? I can't remember. He laughed. Maybe it's time for a checkup. See what I mean? So, look, every few times you donate blood, they send you blood test results in an email. You make it sound like giving blood is a good thing. He emphasizes good, facetiously, stretching to make a joke. Whatever, brother, I'm just saying how different this day is turning out compared to what I thought yesterday. It's getting darker outside. I change the subject and keep motor mouthing. The park by us is getting more crowded. Yeah? Lots of dachshunds? No, but more of those brown-gray heron birds walking around. I make my hands show a duck size but bent over bird shape. Last Saturday there was a guy playing saxophone near the playground. No way. Why near the playground? Willie is twisting and untwisting his water bottle cap and doing his part to keep the conversation going. The darkened sky is lowering and raindrops are still sporadic but fat. Got me! Maybe because most people are around the big playground. Parents with children, you know. When I got there, this guy was already set up with a fancy hat and a microphone and backup music with drum rhythms. Any good? I thought so. And a heron did too. Huh? One heron was squawking like an echo to the saxophone. I never heard them make sounds except for a warning sound when a dog or a kid got too close. Was it talking or singing along? I wondered the same thing. What was Samson doing? Same as always, just following his nose, ignoring everything else. Sometimes I've entertained the thought that Samson is autistic, but probably he's just not the smartest pooch. Either way, he's mostly unexpressive, although more so now in his old age. I am quiet, thinking that was one of the last times our dog went with me to that park. I took him there thousands of times before. So what's the latest with good old Samson? Willie's voice is gentler. He is very careful coming out of the elevator. For him, getting over the space between the elevator floor and the outside floor is a bother. I pause and keep going. Samson doesn't move around so much when he walks these days. He's sure used to fly around. Yeah, the boys and I had to chase him down lots of times. I laugh. Now his health is iffy. I make treats with turmeric powder and ground chicken leg meat. Well, where do you get ground chicken leg meat? The big supermarket by us. Just grab a big pack of deboned chicken meat over to the curtain and ask the butcher to grind it. A video game siren sound ends our conversation. Willie knows the ring sound. He doesn't have to look at the caller ID. It's Big Guy. That's our nickname for our friend of 20 years, police heavyweight Colonel Shun. Willie pushes a button on the steering wheel to answer the call. What's up, Colonel? Willie listens, looking ahead. Oncoming cars all have their lights on, and we expect to slam into the outer edge of the typhoon any time now. Where's Dee? Are you two together? His voice is loud. Our friend is upset. Yes, I say. Dee here, sir. How can we help you? Have you been following the news at all? Willie and I squint inquisitively at each other. The colonel is speaking nothing like himself. He is uncharacteristically discombobulated. No. Not for 2 or 3 hours, Colonel, Willie says. We only refer to our VIP police friend as Big Guy between us. You don't know? They kidnapped Wang Sanbao in Danshui. I only learned recently that Wang Sanbao was the silent benefactor who funded our Odd Family campaigns. A few months ago, it was Willie who told me after Colonel Sun told him. Although we learned the truth, Sun said that to protect Wang Sanbao, we should still keep our distance even after so many years. So the man who underwrote our earliest work and richly rewarded our efforts after helping him in 2000 was still officially anonymous to us. Danshui? Of all places? Didn't they hear there was a typhoon? Willie nervously quips, his eyes open wide. What's the latest? What do you need from us? I feel like hurrying him and adding, spit it out. He tells us the bare facts of what he knew for sure, then what was rumored. It is very little, but our mouths remain dropped open. Can you come to Taichung Police Headquarters and join with the central team for input? We don't know what we're doing, but this is Sanbao they took, so I know you want to help. I want to assign you a seat at the table to cooperate and advise. Sorry, sir. We're committed and already on our way to Taipei for other reasons. If you need us for anything, line or call. I want to hang up, feeling way off course for my original assignment. Thanks, I will, he says. We expect he has more to say. He does. You're going to Taipei? Didn't you hear there's a typhoon? He blasts one of his signature loud laugh honks. Bah! I picture his hands pushing on his stomach as always when he honk laughs. Then Big Guy finishes our conversation. I know he is leaning toward the space in front of him where we'd be if we were there. This storm is a monster, my friends. Its forward speed is slowing down too, so watch out. And he hangs up. Neither of us mentioned Colonel Shen's departure from his normal, effusive self. Every other time on the phone or in person, Big Guy was notably long-winded, more than just rambling about official business. If he wasn't sharing details about his never-ending battle with gout, he was reporting and dishing news and commentary about Kobe, his teenage second son. Willie and I share a look, which says that was weird. I can't recall in 20 years a time on the phone with him this short in all business. What is he not telling us? Wang Sanbao is kidnapped, and so dramatically. It's so horrible. I didn't mean to sound so intensely, realizing even as the words spill out that I need to keep calm. Willie has no comment, just more twisting and untwisting the bottle cap. The typhoon is stalling. Not good. Willie finally says. Flyby typhoons are bad enough when they hit you, but when a typhoon's forward march slows down, it usually causes the most harm, not only from the wind, but the insanely heavy rains unleashed. Combine that with this being a super typhoon, and it was looking more and more ominous for all of Taipei, not just Wangsanbao. Willie and I are both thinking the same thing. He says it first. Let's pray. Police Crisis Center. The Emergency Crisis Center, a coordination between Taipei and New Taipei called Taipei Central PD Crisis Center, is humming with activity. Colonel Han made a snap decision considering the Wangsanbao development to open the Crisis Center and combine the Typhoon Noru Readiness Center all in one. One super crime with one super typhoon. Technicians are coming and going with devices and cords to attach them. Assistants run to and fro with messages and held out phones connected with superiors stuck at home. 3 long tables form a U shape, and the leaders sit at the head table nearest the front of the room. Everyone working to prepare the room is not just busy, they are frantic, harried. And they're trying to sprint with their hands. And their faces aren't just angry, they're enraged, boiling mad that such a crime could even be considered, and on such a day of national vulnerability. Colonel Han is a tall, bald man with intense eyes and a sharply angled chin. He pushes his glasses up on his nose and bellows, "Amateurs!" at a young technician for trying the wrong cord in a device to link in more screens into their already impressive system. Those never before in Han's presence don't know what they heard shouted was only an intensity 3 from 1 to 10. What everyone fears, what he is known for, is calling you an amateur. Colonel Han is in charge of the Crisis Center, the large, soundproof conference room, and all of their undertakings. Part of the Crisis Center's reason for being, and one of its main parameters, is bypassing bureaucracy and red tape in a fluid crisis. Colonel Han is one of 3 high-ranking officials trained and extensively drilled to lead the Crisis Center. Colonel Han is ready to hammer with passion all nails he sees sticking up. He exudes the highest professionalism and confidence where none should be had in the unprecedented situation they find themselves in. Hastily gathered department representatives are all in attendance, whether physically or virtually through the internet. Subordinates plugged into devices are at the table, representing absent department heads. The devices are efficient in maintaining direct communication with the department heads, but they slow down the whole process. Fortunately, 4 department heads in the room are enough for discussion and decision-making. The others can confer and make inputs from mobile positions. Colonel Han knows the police commissioner has a live feed access, the only one, and is briefing Taiwan's elected president every 30 minutes. If Han feels any pressure from being watched by the top brass, it does not show. "Keep discipline in this crisis center," Colonel Han stands and loudly commands. "There is no need for anyone to speak unless there is a need to speak." The previous quiet discourse around the table abruptly stops. Technicians pause. Assistants hold up their phones and gawk at the colonel. "Speaking up to the Crisis Center conference, not quietly talking with your superiors on the phone or doing your tech jobs." Standing erect, his hands on his hips, he turns to the electronic whiteboard computer screen on the side wall to his left, finally hooked up and streaming 12 cable and network TV news channels. It blinks and turns off. He roars, "Amateurs!" As the colonel resumes walking and watching everyone and everything, red-faced technicians and phone-holding assistants resume quiet, hurried actions and conversations. One department head covers his mouth to hide his smile at the colonel's famous ways. He is ready to report about traffic disruptions up to the minute, but will only do so when the colonel calls him to. "What do we know?" Colonel Han asks. He pushes his glasses up on his nose and looks around at the heads of the departments present for one of them to speak. The head of operations, stoutly built Chief Lai, with his thick salt and pepper crew cut, sitting next to the colonel, begins delivering a summary. Chief Lai is Colonel Han's friend on the outside, but not here, not now. Our biggest concern may be the public's awareness and reaction to the news reports so early in this fluid situation. The news is ahead of us for now. We can't lose sight of everything happening, as probably the strongest storm in Taipei's history is peaking, he begins. He continues without droning on, and in less than a minute he thoughtfully summarizes without simply listing abbreviated facts. At one point, Colonel Han interrupts, letting a 5 loose. BLPD amateurs! Chief Lai continues. So, because of Bali PD's radio mess-up, TV News has the jump on us. Our hands are tied. The storm is simply too powerful right now. There are multiple accounts of cars not only overturned, but rolling in the wind, rolling down the street. He mimes what that might look like, making a face of empathy for the tragic reality all around them. It is beyond our range of operations outside. Until the eye of the typhoon changes direction, we could be in these conditions for some time. We have to get on top of this fast, Colonel Han shouts to no one in particular. Then he gestures at the TV screens back up and growls at the jump the news has on them. Amateurs! That's it for today. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed the reading this time. Please leave a comment if you did. What did you think? Remember, sharing is caring, so please do tell a friend who would like to join us here. If you are enjoying the journey, I'd be so grateful if you would be a supporter and pick up a copy of Danshui President Plunge on Amazon and leave a review. Until next time, take care. I look forward to seeing you here again. See you then.